Speaking of Sundays in churches, and there was a bit of a commotion going on because Nike had just released its 30th anniversary ad campaign for its "Just Do It" tagline. And the reason why it's garnered so much attention is because they have uh, they have hired Colin Kaepernick of pig cop sock wearing, Che Guevara shirt wearing, flat national anthem kneeler fame to be the face of that new campaign, the new tagline reads, "Sacrifice everything to believe in something."
Yeah, believe something. It might even at the risk of everything.
Yeah. Sacrifice everything or believe. Well, let me look it up real fast.
You had it reversed.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, you had the right lines. You just had them reversed.
Oh yeah, believe in something even if it means sacrificing everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, here's why that's in this case is absolute horseshit. First of all, Colin Kaepernick in his life has never sacrificed anything. He comes from a place of, he was adopted by a very a very well off family.
Yeah, it's not like he grew up in the ghetto. Far from it. He was, he was the child of a white mother and a black father. But then the mother gave him up for adoption, which then he was adopted by another white family, and raised in the suburbs. Had every opportunity opened up for him. Because of his situation. So exactly what has he sacrificed?
And he had, like I said, maybe his sacrifice is that he initially worked hard in sports. I mean, he was drafted as I think he was he was in the baseball draft. He was drafted as a second baseman. I believe it was either the Brewers or the Rockies drafted him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he decided football over baseball. Was picked up by I think he was drafted by the Niners. I don't remember if he was drafted by the Niners or traded. The Niners traded for him.
Mm-hmm.
He had a great, probably year and a half. Made it all the way to the Super Bowl, lost in the Super Bowl to I think it was the Ravens.
Uh-huh.
And then,
this is like kind of early 2010s?
Yeah. This was maybe like 5 years ago or so. It wasn't that long ago. And then slowly, the league caught up to, the way that he did things.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't adjust to great athletes. When the league catches up to them, make adjustments and get, they find a way to keep, being a success.
Right.
But the ones that don't make it in the sport don't adjust, and he never adjusted.
Yeah, because he had that one good year.
And
he had that one good year, but then that was it. And then the other teams, caught wise to his game, the way he did things, and he didn't adjust, he didn't adapt.
He went from being a decent quarterback to a terrible quarterback that could not throw a complete pass to save his life. And from there, he lost his starting job with San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
He lost his job with San Francisco altogether. And I think as he started to realize he was losing his notoriety is when he chose to get woke. Michael Knowles talks about, get woke, go broke. He kind of went down that road.
Right. Yeah, because he knew,
sure,
like, he wasn't getting, he wasn't getting the camera time for his exploits on the field, and so he, this whole like kneeling thing, this was definitely an attempt to still stay relevant, still get some, it's just kind of like trying to lap up whatever attention he still could get, and then also because he knew like if eventually he got traded or whatever, then he could just point to like, oh, see, the team wasn't supporting me, or whatever, and so that was a real reason why they let me go. It wasn't because I wasn't good enough. It's because like they didn't support me.
And here's why I know that's absolute horseshit too, because there's been a lot of polarizing figures, meatheads, dumbasses that do all sorts of dumbassery in the sport, but they're also incredibly talented and are kind of the Hall of Fame caliber players.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean there's if Colin Kaepernick had the talent of I'll just go in like quarterbacks, if he had the same level of talent as like Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, any other good quarterback, or you look at someone like Terrell Owens, was kind of a knucklehead.
Yeah.
Did a lot of dumbass shit, yet because he was at the top of his game and he was the best wide receiver, you know what? He kept getting jobs because
right, yeah.
a lot of
despite his antics, despite his dickish demeanor on the field and off the field, he still had the goods. He could still bring it.
Yeah, but the problem is that Colin Kaepernick doesn't have that talent. He's not a Brett Favre. He's not a Terrell Owens.
Exactly.
He's not at that caliber. So here's a guy that maybe if he was a less polarizing figure, yeah, he's probably going to get the backup jobs. He's probably going to get like the third string. He's going to be on a team because he's someone that elevates his other teammates, or he's not someone that's going to rock the boat per se. But when you suck and you're a polarizing figure, good luck, because
well, I heard that he was basically poison in the locker room.
Yeah, that's the
thing. I mean, this was even before like the whole kneeling thing. Like I heard, like he was kind of he wasn't like a team guy. He wasn't a leader.
Right.
Is what I heard. And like he would mainly be off by himself. In the locker room, he wouldn't necessarily interact with any of the other teammates. And so I mean, your whole job as a quarterback is to be a leader. And so, if you don't gain the trust of your blockers or your wide receivers or whatever, then they're not gonna perform for you.
No,
I mean, regardless of how good you are, like if you if they don't know you, they're not gonna play for you. They're not gonna block for you.
Yeah, and that's it's just. That's what I say. It's you're acting like an asshole, and when you're at the top of your game, teams don't care. As long as you can perform and put up the numbers and win games, that's in the end, that's really all that matters. But when you're all of the terrible things, like you're a cancer in the locker room, you have no talent, you're you're not, and you have a just a polarizing way about you where like people really don't like you. You're not going to get the jobs. I'm sorry. And the other thing, and I'll one thing that concerning Colin Kaepernick that there's a analyst on ESPN who I don't like, but in this one instance,
what's his face?
Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
Who is kind of a blowhard, but he and he's no conservative by any means. But he had one apt thing about this, because Colin Kaepernick, like when he started all this before it really blew up in the NFL, he was going off about all this stuff, and this is just before the I think it was just before the 2016 election.
Mm-hmm.
And when they asked him, "Oh, who did you vote for?" And all this stuff is like, "Well, I didn't vote." And he was very vocal about not voting, and that's where Stephen A. Smith is like, went off on him.
Yeah. I remember. He's like, don't ever bring him up to me again. His opinion is no longer valid or whatever. Yeah, he was genuinely upset with him that for all his words, for all his I'm doing this to bring awareness to of African young African Americans who are being shot by cops or whatever, who are unarmed or whatever. It's just what'd you do to change the system? He's like, I just kneeled. He's like, well, did you vote?
Shit.
Yeah, he's like, did you vote? It's like, no. And I remember, and he's saying well, the system was broken, so why bother participating? And it's just like.
Well, and that's pretty typical.
And it's at that moment that all Colin Kaepernick lost all credibility.
Well, it's and he did what Colin Kaepernick does, which is jack shit. And he didn't work on his craft to become a better quarterback. He didn't work on becoming a better teammate. He didn't do anything. And this thing that he claims to care about, when it comes time to actually put something to action, he didn't do jack shit. So he doesn't care either. That's why he said he doesn't care.